welcome back to the Saints Through the channel for Sunday content for our match preview ahead of Saturday's big game down at St Mary's between Southampton and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now we are definitely getting to the back end of the Premier League season now, 6 games to go, and it's going to be a big test on Saturday. I think Wolves obviously a very, very good side, but potentially we're playing them at a pretty good time, but we'll get into that in a little bit more later on in the video. But to start off with, let's have a reflection of Friday night's game, the 3-1 defeat to Liverpool. Bittersweet in the end, I think, because we played really well. We really went for it, which I'm really, guys see I'm saying really a lot. And I think if you compare that to his Mark Hughes performance against the top 6 side at home, I think the Chelsea 3-0 back in October is a great sort of comparison marker. The two managers, obviously the scoreline's not too different, but the parallel performance is insane. I mean, and the Chelsea game we had Danny Ings up front. This one we had Shane Long, and Shane Long actually scored. Fair play to him, by the way. I don't think he got a lot of credit, and it was a tap-in, but still. But yeah, look, I think what Liverpool did is typical of inevitable champions. A lot of Saints fans were a bit, I think bitter is the right word, after the game, with obviously the little bit of rivalry and spice the game had to it because of sort of what's happened between Southampton and Liverpool the last couple of seasons. A lot of fans saying that Liverpool won't be winning the league. I'm still divided. I've got no clue because it's just going to the wire. But I think it's really important that we build on that performance. That was our last game of the season against the top 6 side. We've now got 6 games against teams. Look, some of them are very close to us, some of them are a bit further ahead, and I think one of the teams who are quite a bit further ahead is Wolves. Sat in 7th at the moment. They're the leading candidates for European football out of sort of for the rest of the league when you sort of separate all the mid-table, the relegation candidates from the top 6. They're looking the best of the rest. But I don't think there's much surprise about how good Wolves have been and the fact that they are where they are. Because yes, they're a promoted side, probably the best promoted side the Premier League's ever seen. But the amount of money they spent, the players they brought in the summer and they already had in the Championship is unreal. Obviously Ruben Neves, having him in the Championship was massive, but they've also got Diego Jota, they got Raul Jimenez on loan, who's now permanent. I mean, their team is fantastic. Obviously one of the best managers outside the top 6, if not the best manager outside the top 6. I think that's debatable with Hasenhüttl, but yeah, they've just been superb this season, especially against the top 6, and I think it's a little bit lucky that we're actually not a top 6 side, because it seems that they're the teams that they've sort of thrived against this season. But as I mentioned earlier, this may be the better time to be playing Wolves, and we'll get more on that from our opposition preview that will come out, I believe, tomorrow if you're watching this on Thursday, or it's already out, depending on when you're watching it. Have a look if it's out. But it seems that we're actually playing them at the best possible time. A 2-0 defeat away at Burnley last time out in the league, and then obviously, let's talk about that FA Cup semi-final. They just collapsed. I don't know what it was. They didn't even play that badly. I mean, 75 minutes, they were 2-0 up against Watford, and yeah, it just didn't happen for them, which, I don't know, will be a positive or a negative going into Saturday's game. Will they be looking for a reaction, or will they still be a little bit deflated? Obviously, I'm hoping the latter, but I think this one's going to be a hard test. They gave us a good game at the Molineux back in September. Personally, I thought we pipped them that game, but it was a typical Mark Hughes performance. Not play too badly, maybe have the better chances and then just lose the game at the end. And that's exactly what we did. We just bowed down to the sword when it came to that game. But I think a lot has happened in the time since we last played them. Obviously, it's been a good handful of months now since that game at Molineux. I'd like to say 2 different sides, but Wolves are still just as excellent as they were at the start of the season. But what's good is we've got Danny Ings back for this one, as long as his hamstrings don't go again. Obviously, he was ineligible to play on Friday night against his parent club Liverpool. We've got him back now, and he really needs a goal. It's been a good while since he last scored. Obviously, he had a lengthy spell out with injury, but we need to see him put the ball in the back of the net now. Especially on this run that we're going to have to finish off the season. Like I said earlier, 6 more games now, none of which are against top 6 sides, so you'd like to think that we could give each of them a game. you'd like to think that we can sort of compete in all 6 games, especially this one, because on paper it's the hardest team, but it's at home, and so far under Hasenhüttl the home form's been quite good, especially the performances, and if we can replicate the performance we put out on Friday night, I think we'll be winning it by 2 or 3. But of late, they're not in the best of form away from home, and against teams outside the top 6, which is really strange. Obviously that defeat 2-0 at Burnley, but then they drew at Bournemouth, obviously drew at Chelsea as well, which was an okay result, almost won that though. And they also lost to Huddersfield, which was away as well, so not the best form at the moment, and definitely a side that we can give a really good game against. I don't think we should be fearing them. Obviously they've got fantastic players at their disposal, attacking players, but I think we just need to go to win it. It's also important that we get a win this time out, because it could potentially mean that we extend our lead over Cardiff in the relegation zone. Obviously at the moment it's a 5-point gap between the 2 teams, both having 6 more games to play, but Cardiff have got a trip to Burnley on Saturday. Now Burnley look like they're pretty much okay. They're not out of it, of course, but they got a win that was really important against Bournemouth last time out in the league, and yes, we've got a game in hand on them. I've got no idea how that game's going to go. Cardiff could come out and just play amazing and get a win. Obviously if our game against Wolves doesn't go to plan, that will reduce the gap to just 2 points. So I think it's vital that we get something, and hope that that game is either a Cardiff loss or ideally a draw, just because it keeps Burnley in and around us. But yeah, we really need a result this week, because I think it's important that we look at each game at a time instead of looking over the 6-game period. Well, I'd say it's these 3 teams. Maybe Brighton will get pulled back into it because they've got a poor record, because they've got a poor run to finish off the season. But I think, like I've said, these are the games we need to get results from, and luckily these are the games that we've got for the rest of the season. So we need to start building a couple more wins. I think 2 or 3 more wins and we'll be absolutely fine. Hopefully that's starting on Saturday, because I think some fans were a bit gutted that we didn't get something on Friday night, because we deserved it completely. Obviously it was a top side, but we warranted a lot more than the defeat that we did get. And what better way to bounce back with another home game just a week later against a side that we're definitely a lot more capable of beating. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Remember to give the video a like if you have enjoyed it. Let us know in the comment section below your predictions for the game on Saturday. Obviously subscribe if you haven't yet already. We will be getting some opposition insight from Wolves Fan TV ahead of the game on Saturday, so that'll either be out now or will be out soon, whenever it's going to be out, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you very soon.